So let me know if there are any questions as well, so I can address them. And post that, then I'll be moving on to the tips, tools, and techniques on how we can, create more harmonious relationships, how we can build on harmonious relationships, or how we can improve up on our current relationships as well. Um, I'm just going to look up a question that we had when you people were registering in. So someone had this question. I'm just going to look that up and answer it in the meantime till end of you asking any further questions. So the question is difficulty communicating about certain negative actions because both do something and the other party ends up attacking, saying that instead of trying to come to a solution, they show defensive personalities. And how do you manage the underlying anger? Okay, so for that, I am just going to gradually move on to the next section wherein I'm going to give you a lot more clarity on how you can work around this. It's an excellent question. If that person who had posted that in to us, if you're still online, just wait for a minute and I'm going to, come and I'm going to touch on that topic and talk in depth about it as well. Okay, if there are no questions, I'm gradually moving on to tips, tools, and techniques that each one of us can use that will help us deal with our existing relationships in a better manner, will help us improve them, will help us establish more stronger relationships in the future as well. So each one of us is aware, each one of us knows that the primary prerequisite for any good, positive, harmonious relationship is communication. Now, it's very vital and important that we tend to communicate the right way. Half of our issues end up, blowing out of proportion more because we don't know how to communicate in the right, in the ideal manner. And because of that, a lot of further issues, a lot of further problems also tend to get created and they tend to arise. So how do we improve up on our communication in an existing relationship? I'm going to give each one of you certain basic principles that I follow as well. So if you want, you can jot them down, you can write them down also. Starting off with the first principle, which is the most essential one, the most important one, which is whoever that individual is, I start off with a positive characteristic or a positive trait or a positive compliment, which is honest but yet positive about that person. Now, this positive trait, characteristic, compliment can absolutely anything. So it can be connected with their physical appearance. It can be connected with how they mentally tune in. It can be with how they're emotionally interacting with you. It can be a personality trait that they might have, or it can be absolutely anything else. For example, if I want to communicate with a very close friend that I've had an issue with, I will start off initially by saying to my friend that I genuinely appreciate your honesty. Now that is something that I genuinely appreciate, whereas it's honest. The fundamental thing that each one of us has to take note over here is that whatever our compliment, whatever positive feedback we're giving, it has to be honest. So it can be something as simple as that, oh, I really like the way you dress up, for example, or I really like the way you convey out things. Or it can be something very simple like, I really like the way you cook. Can be basically absolutely anything. When you start off with that fundamental truth, but of course it being a positive one, you're making that individual more open to communicate with you. So that is the first tip, the first tool technique that you start off with. So coming back to the example of my friend that I have an issue with, I'll tell her, oh, I genuinely appreciate your honesty. That's the first positive fundamental truth. Secondly, I'll then use more of I statements. Now, what do I mean by I statements? I statements are basically statements wherein I'm using the word I instead of the word you. Now, why am I doing this and why is it so important? Why is it so essential for each one of us to do this? Because when we start using in more I statements instead of you statements, we immediately draw attention on our own selves. So it is us who's taking responsibility of everything that's happening. So use a I statement more than a you statement, because that way opposite person doesn't feel that you are blaming them. The opposite person doesn't feel that you have an issue with them or that you have a problem with them. So that is the second principle that you use for a harmonious communication, to build up on an already existing relationship, to make it more strong. Coming back to the same example of that friend, I will say that of late, I have been feeling uneasy. Now, instead of saying of late, you have been making me feel uneasy, I have said the same thing in a way that it's all on me. I am taking responsibility of whatever it is that I want to convey. Thirdly, the third principle is that after that, you state exactly what it is that's affecting you from that individual. So, for example, in my fight with my friend, I'm extremely upset that I'm not getting enough time with her. Then I will say, of late, I have been feeling uncomfortable because I feel that I am not getting enough time in this friendship that we have compared to earlier. So this is how I have conveyed out exactly the same thing, but in a different manner. Instead of me going ahead and saying, oh, you, I feel very uncomfortable because it's you with whom I don't feel that connection. Because of you, I don't feel you're giving me enough time. It's going to make that other person more defensive. It's going to close up that other person even before I convey my point out. Whereas here, using so many positive traits, taking up responsibility for what I feel is affecting me and the relationship or the issue that's being generated, I in turn am helping resolve that relationship in a better manner, in an easier manner, in a faster way. So that is the third principle that each one of us can also use in a very effective way. And the fourth principle is wait. Wait and see as to what the other person is saying. So whatever the other person is saying, for example, the other person is saying, my friend taking that same example is saying, oh, but I don't think that I've not been giving you enough time. I think it's more in your head or things like that. Then at that point of time, you convey out, for example, that, okay, but I've been feeling this because there has been much less time that was spent in of late as compared to earlier on, where we used to spend in more time. So you're giving in more facts, more reasons that strengthen your viewpoint, but again in a very harmonious manner, again in a manner that the opposite person understands what you're trying to say, doesn't feel that you're being defensive, doesn't feel that you're blaming them, and understands that you come with a good intention and genuinely works on the problem or the issue that you two are facing. And lastly, which is the fifth principle or the fifth point, and that is, after conveying out everything, after getting that response, if you feel that despite you repeatedly giving feedback, despite you repeatedly speaking what you want to, conveying out your issues, your problems, the other person is still not giving you what you deserve, the other person is still not behaving in a harmonious, in a healthy manner, then you can always set in a healthy boundary. Now, what do I mean by a healthy boundary? A healthy boundary is basically you setting you setting across or establishing a healthy line around you, that this is till the extent that I'm ready to, be flexible. This is the extent till which I'm ready to adjust all of that. Beyond this, if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to take necessary steps or action. Now, in my case, for example, in the example that I gave with my friend, I can put across a healthy boundary that, okay, I understand, and I'm going to see how things turn out between us in the next 2 to 3 months. And I genuinely hope that things become better and back to where we were when we earlier started off this friendship. That is a healthy boundary where I'm not blaming my friend. It's a healthy boundary because I'm keeping a timeline of the duration, which is 2 to 3 months of me checking in. And I'm also stating the consequences if that timeline or that boundary is not respected. I'm also putting across my hope, my expectation, which is going to make sure that the individual responds in a more harmonious manner with me. So these are the 5 basic principles that I've talked about that help us, strengthen our communication, that help us communicate and converse in a better manner. Now, before I move ahead to the other pointers as well, that or the other tools and techniques that will help us work around establishing stronger, more harmonious relationships. If any of you again have any questions about the 5 principles, if you have any situation in which you feel, you want more clarity on how you can communicate, you can put that down in the chat section as well. And I'll respond to that, I'll help you out, and after that, we'll be moving on to the other tips and techniques. So I'll just wait for a minute to make sure that if there are any comments, I can address them. And if you guys are also clear about the 5 principles so far, just let me know of that. I will also get more clarity. So you can put that down in the chat section and that will help me understand. Or you can use your audio. You're most welcome. I'm gradually then going to move on to more other deeper techniques that we can use to strengthen up our relationship as well. Any other questions? You're most welcome as well. Okay, so if everybody is comfortable using the chat option, then I'm just going to switch off the audio for all of you. All right, so gradually moving on, and that is to the next tip. Now make sure that when you're communicating, when you're expressing out, you have to often at times when the intensity of the way that you're communicating with that individual. For example, if you've had a turbulent relationship with your partner since the past 10 years or 12 years, often you need to state the obvious so that it makes them less defensive towards you. Often you need to state the obvious so that it helps them, understand your viewpoint in a better way. Now, what do I mean by stating the obvious? Basically, you need to tell them that the following inputs or the following pointers that I'm going to put across, I say them and I critique them only so that you can grow as an individual, only so that you can benefit. Now, even in that, even when you're saying this, after that, please make sure that you're conveying out in a manner that you would like to listen from the other person. That should be your basic principle. What do I mean by that? For example, if you've had a fight with your husband, about something that you feel was completely not acceptable from his end, and he ended up doing that, instead of saying it in this manner that, oh my God, you are so pathetic, oh my God, how could you do something like this, or oh my God, I never expected this, and then going forward, cursing him, blaming him, putting further allegations on him, place yourself in his shoes just for a second and just think, would you like to listen to any of this coming from your partner? I don't think any of us would like to. So if we don't want to listen to any such allegations, any such blaming, any such fingers that are pointed at us the wrong way, I don't think it's right for us to also convey that out to our partner or to whoever it is that we share a harmonious relationship. Instead, what we can do is, I'm not asking any of you to keep quiet or to, suppress it within you. What I'm saying is, instead, express this out using the 5 principles, starting off also with saying that I genuinely care for you. I honestly wish that you grow ahead. I honestly wish that whatever this issue is, we come out of it together, which is why I'm stating that, etc., 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 whatever it is. In case of the relationship, example that I just gave of you being disturbed with your partner because he did something that's not acceptable, you can say that I genuinely care for you. I really want our marriage to be successful, and out of concern and honesty, I'm going to tell you that what you did yesterday is just not acceptable. I don't think if you end up repeating it again, I would be able to take it or I would be able to accept it. I feel that we're both adults in this relationship and I expect much more. And I feel that each one of us is capable of giving the other person much more. So this, you've said the same thing basically, but the manner in which you said is going to help your partner understand your true intentions in a better way. One, it's going to help you strengthen your relationship too. And three, it's going to make your partner more open to listen to you the next time you have any feedback. Because now your partner will feel that, okay, what she's saying makes sense. Now your partner will realize that what she's trying to convey out makes sense. And, she always means the best for me and will go ahead and do it. Often, a lot of us end up blaming each other so much that even if we come from the best intentions, even if we come from the best, energies and we wish the best, the manner in which it is said is so off-putting that the minute we open our mouths, our partner or whoever that close individual is just, thinks mentally in their head that, oh my God, this person has started talking again, and oh my God, I don't want to listen to any of this. Since I do a lot of relationship counseling, the massive issue that comes across in couples is this. A major reason why couples don't get along or have a lot of miscommunication is because of this reason as well. So using the 5 principles and stating the obvious, showcasing your good intentions really helps your partner open up, not only your partner, but whoever that individual is in that relationship with you, open up in a more positive manner. Another very, very effective tip that I would like to give each one of you is that whoever that you are in that relationship or you have that relationship with, for example, it's a relationship that you have in your workspace with your boss and you feel extremely upset with the way your boss is treating you, with the way your boss is communicating with you, for example, then you can use this next step. You can use this next step in every way possible. You can generalize it, you can make it as specific or customize it as how you want it. What do you do in this basic exercise? Basically, you take a sheet of paper and you write down every single thing, every single characteristic, every single behavior trait, every single word that whoever that individual is, in this case, in our example, your boss has mentioned that's disturbed you so much. So for example, your boss insulted you in a public meeting, mention that in also. Or for example, your boss conveyed out things to you that he or she should not have said, put that in also. Or if you feel that your boss is overloading you in with excess amount of work that's tiring you out, that's burning you out more, write that down as well. And make sure that you write down all of this in as much detail as you possibly can. When you finished writing it down, immediately tear it off or burn it off, whatever you feel works for you. Don't sit and reread it after you've written it down. The idea here is that as you write all of this down, as you note all of this down, as you jot all of this down, your body is using all of your senses to help you vent out, to help you release out the right way. So it's going to help you massively. So do that. That will help you immensely. Once you've finished off with this exercise and you feel more relieved, you feel more relaxed and more empty, you can do part 2 of the exercise, which is you take a sheet of paper again, and this time you take a red pen or a red marker, anything that's basically red in color. Now, why are we using a red colored pen? Because the subconscious mind, brighter colors for the subconscious mind get absorbed in much faster. So using that red pen, you highlight down characteristics and traits that you feel are wonderful about your boss, about your superior, for example. For example, that my boss is generally very understanding, or for example, my boss, pays really well, or simple things like that. And for those of you, now I know some of you will say that, what if you feel that that other person has nothing good to offer? In that case, you can write down everything you wished from that relationship, from that other person. So in our case, continuing with the boss example, you can write down, that my boss is very understanding now. My boss is very lenient when it comes to understanding me. My boss pays very well. My boss is very flexible when it comes to, work deadlines. Every single thing that you feel your boss or whoever that person is that you have that relationship with so far has not done. So you can again do this with your partner, that I feel that my partner is very loving, my partner is very caring, my partner is very affectionate, my partner is giving me every positive trait that I deserve in this relationship. Or if it's a relationship you share with your parents, my father really understands me. My communication with my father is very strong, very harmonious, very open, very transparent. So you get my point, right? You can customize this. You can make it as specific as you want. You can generalize it. You can do this in every way possible. But at one time, focus on one relationship that you have, that you want to work on with one individual. You jot all of that down using your red pen. When you've done that, now is the key point that each one of us needs to take care. And that is, don't tear this off or don't burn it off. Instead, pin this up in your room, pin this up on your softboard, make this your mobile wallpaper, put it wherever you feel you would like to put it. And every single day before you go to sleep, just 20 minutes before you go to sleep, just glance through that sheet of paper. Don't even sit and read all the characteristics or all the behavior traits or all your expectations. Just glance through it. As you keep glancing through this every single day, that's still going to bring about gradually changes in that opposite individual. I have given this to so many of my clients who've used this to empower their relationships. I've given this to so many of my clients who faced a lot of turbulent times, in terms of work or in terms of their uh, problems or communication with their friends or with near and dear ones that they can't just cut down ties with. And as they started using this, it's brought about a massive shift. The only idea and the pointers that you need to take care of are that you need to consistently glance through this every single day, 20 minutes before you go to sleep, because that's the time when your subconscious is most active, and that is the time when it's going to absorb in all the information you feed it in, much faster. It'll glance through this at least 21 times for a minimum of 21 days, because your brain, your subconscious mind will at least take that much time to establish a positive, a harmonious bond. For people who have been experiencing toxic relationships, negative issues and trauma for many years, like 10 years or 12 years, you will have to do this exercise consistently for more than 21 days, of course, so that the energy gradually starts shifting. So this is an excellent tool, technique, exercise that you can do. Now, if any of you still have any questions about the tools, techniques, exercises that we've done so far, please again put them down in the chat option. Let me know. I'll read them, I'll respond to them, I'll reply, and post that we'll then be starting off with the meditation. So I'm just going to wait for 1 or 2 minutes so that if any of you have any questions, you can put them across. And if you're all clear about everything that I've conveyed that out so far, please put that down also in the chat option so I know and we can gradually move on. Okay, if no one has any questions, then all tips have been helpful. Great, thank you so much for letting us know. Okay, any other comments, any other questions? If not, we're gradually going to move on to the meditation. Sorry, can't think of any specific question. That's fine. That's completely okay, no worries. All right, so okay, usually with kids, if we start taking responsibility, I'm just reading the question. Usually with kids, if we start taking responsibility of a situation, they tend to take it in a wrong way. Yes, that's right. But what do you mean by that responsibility element? If you could just highlight that down, that will really help us structure, and that will help me answer this question in a better manner. So do you mean responsibility in general, or do you mean, responsibility for a specific situation? What do you mean exactly by that? They blame us and then the communication is one-sided. Yeah, so this is a perfect situation. What you can do in this situation massively is usually with kids, or even people who are older than us, the major issue that comes up is because of the communication gap or the communication barrier that sets in. So here again, you can use all 5 principles like I highlighted. So if you want your child to do something, you start off with a positive compliment for your child. Second, you convey out using I messages instead of you, because that way then your child will not feel that you are blaming him or her. Thirdly, you then, wait, you see what sort of response, reaction they are giving. Of course, thirdly, you convey out whatever the problem is. Fourthly, you wait for whatever response, reaction they give. And fifthly, you establish that healthy boundary. Using these 5 principles even with your child will help you, will let your child understand that this time, more so than a parent, it's you who's asking them to do something, or it's you who's conveying out whatever it is that's affecting you to them in a manner that they understand it, because they will feel as if they're being considered as adults, as if their opinion is important, and they will feel as if you're communicating from a healthy space. Often kids tend to shut off, or they feel that a lot of issues come in because they feel that we are blaming them. But when they realize that, oh, you know what, my mom or my dad, whoever it is not blaming me, but is coming from a good mental space, wherein they're just conveying this point out, you will be surprised to notice that they actually open up really, really well. And I say this because I've dealt with a lot of kids. Often the most stubborn children, or the most stubborn kids, are just kids or children who want a little bit more attention from us, and a little bit more care and affection and love the right way. When they start getting that, and they know that there's someone to listen to them, you'll be surprised with how much they open up. So just try this out, and I'm sure it's going to help you improve your communication with your child. Any other questions? All right. If there are no questions, we're moving on to the meditation. I would request each one of you to gradually please close your eyes. Start taking in deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Completely relax. And gradually continue with your deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose. Breathing out through your mouth. And today we're doing a very powerful meditation and exercise, which is going to help each one of us in a massive way. Gradually allow yourselves to go in a very comfortable, in a very relaxed space. And whether this is an open space or an enclosed area, take your time and allow yourself to be in that open space or enclosed area. Observe your surroundings. Notice if there are any changes in your environment, and find a suitable spot in that place from where you would like to continue through today's session. And as you gradually continue, now that you've found that spot, as I count from 1 to 3, gradually in that place where you are in right now, whether it's a safe space which is open or a safe space which is enclosed, that individual with whom you're facing an issue in your relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship in general, with your loved one, like your parent, with your friend, at work, or with your own self, call forward that opposite person. When that opposite person enters, as I count from 1 to 3, let that opposite person stand in front of you. 1, 2, and 3. Now that that opposite person is in front of you, continuing with your deep breaths with your eyes shut, observe that opposite person's behavior, the way he or she is standing in front of you, their body language, their expressions, Is he or she trying to say something? All of that. Just note it down. And as you're observing that opposite person, you will observe, notice, sense, feel, or get an idea that that opposite person, as a matter of fact, has a big rope that he or she is holding in his or her hands. A big rope. And as you keep observing and continue taking in your deep breaths, you'll observe that the other end of that rope is actually in your hands, and that you've been holding on to this rope since really long. And just like in a tug of war, one group is pushing and pulling from one end to get the other group on their side. The other group is doing the same thing. You are in a state of tug of war with that opposite person, with that opposite individual. Taking in a deep breath as that opposite person is pushing you more towards their end. Observe as to what is happening to your energy. What type of your energy is getting out of your system? What emotions, feelings are you losing out on when that opposite person is pulling you in this relationship the wrong way? And as you're observing, observe the emotions, the energy that's coming out. If that energy has a color, a shape, a size, observe all of that. And taking in deep breaths, gradually now observe that in order to help yourself recover, as you are pushing, pulling from your end, what are you taking from the opposite person? That is not yours. That doesn't belong to you. And that, as a matter of fact, is affecting you, binding you, and inhibiting your growth and progress. How is all of this energy that's not yours coming within you? How does it appear? What shape, size, color is it? Once you've observed and you've noted where all this energy is coming in, this energy that is not yours, take a deep breath and look at that opposite person, that individual who's facing you. Look at his or her eyes. And as you're doing so, inform that individual that I choose to end this toxicity, this negativity, and this energy that's affecting me and somewhere you, and this relationship that we share now. And seeing that, let go of the rope from your hands. Now, it is on the opposite person if they wish to continue to hold this rope from their end or they wish to leave it. Either is completely fine. And as you're addressing that opposite person, inform that opposite person. Today, I am taking complete responsibility of myself. Today, I am taking responsibility of my part, my bit in this relationship that we share. I accept everything that's happened from my end that's affected the two of us, that has created turbulence and that has affected the dynamics of this relationship. But today, I've decided to work on myself, and so I'm taking the first step towards releasing out all of this toxicity, towards helping myself progress ahead. And each one of us, as we're conveying this out to ourselves, we will find a lot of black empty balloons or black big boxes. Take each of those balloons or black big boxes that we find, identify, out that energy that is not ours, that doesn't belong to us, that is coming either from the opposite person, the toxicity that this relationship is carrying, the negativity from the environment, or any other area or factor. Continue to release this all out in those black balloons or black boxes. Exhale out through your mouth. And take your time. No hurry. Keep doing this till you feel that you've released out all of that toxicity that's binding you down in a negative manner with the individual that you are facing. Continue to release this till you feel completely empty in whichever area you identified this in your body. Continue to do this till you feel completely relaxed. And again, take your time. And as you're releasing out in that black balloon or that black box, make sure to tie the end of that balloon when you've released out everything. Make sure to shut off that box when you've emptied out everything. And let both of these go back in the environment, into the universe. Keep releasing, keep breathing this all out. And for those of you who feel that they've released out everything, continue to focus on your deep breaths. Bring your attention on how far your breaths are going. And for the rest of us, continue to breathe out, continue to release out, and take your time. There's no hurry. Waiting one more minute for those of us who are still releasing out that remaining pent up energy. And now that each one of us has released out all of this from our systems, addressing that individual who's in front of us, informing him and her that I'm now taking back in my true authentic energy that's going to help me contribute in a harmonious, positive, effective manner in this relationship. That's going to help me do my bit the right way in this relationship. Breathe back in your true authentic energy that's finally flowing back within each one of you as I count from 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now. And allow yourselves to take in this complete, your true authentic energy that's flowing within each one of you. Let it merge and integrate in every cell, every muscle, every fiber of your being. Take your time again, no hurry. Breathe this in, your true authentic energy in the most positive, harmonious manner. And inform your opposite person, the individual standing opposite to you. If they wish to, they can also take back in their respective energy. And for those that don't wish to, that's also completely fine. When they've taken in enough of their energy, thank them on your behalf, as well as my behalf, for coming in and for cooperating so well with each one of you today. And ask them to exit out from your space. When they do that, continue with your deep breaths. And gradually, as I count from 1 to 3, open your eyes. 1, 2, 3, now. And take your time. Allow yourselves to orient back in this current space, in this current situation that each one of you are in. And if you have any questions about the process, why we did what we did, your observations that you had in the process, any insight that you received in it, you can go ahead and put that down to me in the chat section right now. Or if you need more clarity, you can still ask that to me also, and I'll help you out. And I really hope that the process was useful for each one of you. You can use this now for your own selves, and you can help yourself, out, and you can help empower that relationship that you share with whoever, whichever that individual is. So I'm just going to wait. If there are any comments, any questions, I'll address those in. And after that, we'll be ending the session. Okay, somebody's made a comment. Thank you so much. This was really helpful. You're most welcome. It felt like connection cutting. Okay. The connection cutting with the person. Okay. It's not exactly cutting the connection or cutting a cord with the person, because often, like I said before, if it's a necessary relationship, for example, with your parent, or with a very close friend, or with a partner that you still want to continue with, you're just getting rid of all the toxicity that's stored up in your relationship, and you're breathing back in your true authentic energy that you ended up losing out on in that relationship. As a result of that, what happens is it helps you contribute in even better in the existing relationship. Connection cutting or cord cutting is wherein you're cutting off all ties with that individual, and you're cutting off all relations energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally, so that you don't even encounter that individual. So this is how the two are different. This helps you empower your existing relationships in a much better, in a much healthier manner. Okay. There's another question. Should we continue to attempt communication if the other person remains unreasonably negative? If you want to make sense, excellent. So if you want to continue in your relationship with that other person, for example, if it's a very close loved one that you don't want to lose out on, then yes, you continue with the process. You do this consistently, at least for 21 days, because by doing this, you are getting rid of all that negativity and toxicity that relationship area had between you and that person. And as you keep doing this, you'll start observing that gradually that other person will also shift from being highly negative to responding in a positive manner with you. Any other questions? Please let me know as well. Excellent. Okay, great. I'm happy that you've got your response. Any other queries? So thank you. I don't understand. So the 21 rule is the key. That's right. 21 days or 21, duration is very important, because that way our subconscious mind absorbs this in faster, and it sends out signals to our brain to establish a harmonious connection with that existing individual, which is why 21 days is the key. You're right. Any other queries or questions? Please put those down to me as well. And we'll then be ending the session. Also, in the meantime, as I'm waiting for you're most welcome. As I'm waiting for any other queries, I would just like to inform each one of you. My next session is going to be on the 10th of April, wherein I'm going to not only talk, but giving more in-depth tools, techniques, do a lot more one-to-one work with each one of you. We are going to customize that. It's a workshop for 2 hours from 7 to 9 p.m. on 10th of April. It's also online through Zoom, through the link. And the topic is a very, very important topic, which is dealing with toxic relationships and also dealing with trauma. Now, just going to cover up a little bit on that, and that is trauma in life. Each one of us experiences it at any point of time. Now, again, the intensity of us experiencing that trauma can be minor or can be major. Not all of us have been either exploited sexually or at the physical level. And so we must be thinking that, why is it essential then for me to attend the next session? Because even if you're not sexually exploited, the mental trauma or the emotional trauma that you tend to feel affects you in massive ways. And that trauma tends to overlap in every area of your life unconsciously. It tends to have an effect in every area of your life. It creates more blockages, more obstacles and burdens, because that energy of trauma is so intense. It is so dense. So that trauma might not just spread out in the relationship or romantic area. It might spread out in you not being able to ask enough money or generate enough income revenues. It might create issues if you're a student, not helping you academically grow. It might create issues in your communication process. It might create issues in the relationships you share, with others. So it spreads out in every area of your life. It also makes you more mentally and emotionally unstable and not healthy. So if you feel that you or anyone else is interested, you can join us on 10th of April. For more details and information about the 10th of April workshop seminar, which is from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Dubai time, Illuminations will pass on the details. You can ask us and you can get in touch with us. I'm just going to end this session here, and I hope it was very useful for each one of you. If you still need any more, if you have any more queries, or if you still need to work in more in depth, you can always book in an online session with me as well. Take care, each one of you, till then, and stay safe.